Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, we're still working on building ourselves a really solid, stonkin' thick economy. We're getting there. We're at the number 2 position GDP-wise. We got about 33% of the economy more to go on Great Britain, and I think we got a really healthy start on that. I think we'll have the ability to do so without too many problems. Investment pool is really dramatically increasing in size. Let me see. Investment pool is covering about 25% of the, maybe closer to 30% of the construction. Guatemala is improving relations, so that's lovely. It's lovely to see that our reputation on the world stage is improving. Standards of living continue to go up. Unemployment is higher than it was before, but, you know, we're still building stuff. We're doing a lot of construction here. We're almost done with this top set of paper mills. What I think I would really like out of this game is for there to be multiple construction queues, like a primary construction queue and like a reserve construction queue. And the primary one would be, they would both be pausable. Or maybe only the reserve one would be pausable. But anyway, so that I could like manage with multiple queues. I think that would be desirable for me, just in terms of the way I play the game. Let's throw these paper mills into the front of the queue, because like right here, as you can see, I'm thinking of my primary queue as being working on these power plants, but I'm putting my reserve queue, these other buildings in my reserve queue, and maybe going to them on and off. So, you know, it's a funny way to think about it, but it makes sense to me. Also, we got a lot of foreign countries building in the country. Yeah, we got foreign countries building in the country. A lot of people building cotton plantations, which is interesting. Bit of a curious state of affairs there, truth be told. South Africa is going after Matabele. Ah, because they're colonizing. Well, that makes sense. That makes a degree of sense. Government's righteous. Getting a lot of loyalists this way, I must say. Excellent. And now we're producing Turin automobiles. That's wonderful. That is perfect. That is exactly what we need out of Fiat. Because now that we're producing prestige automobiles, we're really going to lock in being the leading automotive power in the world. And that is going to be huge for our economy. Just enormous. United Construction is going down in prosperity, but only a little bit. So let's take a look at Fiat. Fiat's got enormous assets in all of these areas. Are we still basically providing all of the cars in the world market? Seems that way, in fact. Wonderful. This baby can fit so much... Slaps roof of Italy. This baby can fit so much automotive manufacturing in it. We have a very small number of regular cars being produced, which is curious. Not sure how that's happening. Maybe other people are building auto plants in Italy. It's a little curious. Maybe I'll focus on building another round of auto industry. How's population? Okay, we're doing okay for a lot of the country. Where have I got unemployment? There's war propaganda. All right, that's good to have. Okay, Abruzzo has achieved full employment. That's excellent, actually. Okay, there's a lot of unemployment in Apulia. Okay, so it's really chiefly Apulia. So let's start building an automotive industry here. Five at the top of the queue, 5 at the bottom, and then when the 5 at the top are done, we'll slide the others in at the top as well. because we need more cars. Cars are an infinite money glitch. The grand plan pays off. Someone else is trying to take advantage of my infinite money glitch. Cassidio Baccarini, the methodical leader of the armed forces, has been studiously working behind the scenes for some time now, and at last all his work has paid off for the armed forces and for Italy. The man was so pleased with his acts that he looked like he's about to burst into flames of contained emotion. How charming. Professionally speaking, though, not the most clever move. Yes, just as planned. The armed forces shall reap the rewards, extra momentum to the right, or Italy shall reap the rewards, reduced loan interest rate, increased gold reserve limit. That's interesting. I really would like the second one, except that we've gotten ourselves out of debt. I mean, it seems like just a great excuse to get back into debt, personally, but Italy shall reap the rewards. I don't necessarily want more strength for the right. Okay, interesting. The Catholic Church wants into the right. Alright, that's quite curious. Well, I mean, if they insist. How does that change momentum? I'm curious. It increases the momentum for both sides. That's quite curious. So I think at this point, I've actually distorted my politics to the point where the Agrarian Party is kind of only holding on due to having an enormous amount of momentum built up. Because I think at this point, the right is actually holding a larger coalition overall between just sort of in the population of Italy as a whole. Which is interesting. It's an interesting state of affairs. Standard of living slowly going up. Oh boy. Bishop takes black pawn. At a soiree for the right's wealthiest supporters, Monaldo Bonaccorsi began a long-winded rant about the merits of slavery and discrimination.
As you can plainly see, the development of the skull is directly tied to the civility of the man. One can assuredly determine his fitness for good society by the proper measurement of his circumference.
And how do you intend to prove that a man does his thinking with his bones?
As you can see, you can determine a man's fitness for good society by properly measuring his skull.
I don't know why we're doing racist Kermit. I just decided to do a funny voice for this weird racist, and Kermit was the one that I thought of. People are entitled to their opinions, even if they're wrong. Extra momentum to the right. Our civilization is the means of our equality. Way more momentum to the right. 5% of South Italian pops become more radical. Interesting. South Italian pops. Curious. Anyway, people are entitled to their opinion even if they're wrong. Because we have protected speech, and that's our way of doing things. God, these power plants take forever to get built. Siamese radical revolt, huh? I guess I'll have to send... Did I misspell this army? No, it's the second corps. It's just the way it's displayed up here makes it look wrong. Alright. Put this army in there. No reason to worry ourselves about it. I would like to have another defensive pact with Spain, please. Spain, old buddy, old chum. Let's make a deal. Nah, I don't want to do that. What about money? Can't get a meaningful amount of money. Shame. I can get military support? I don't think so. Well, anyway, how about a defensive pact? The Madrid Convention. Alright. Now, Occitania. Okay. Let me take a look at some... Well, first, let me do this. Following the recent expansion of industry into rural communities in Lazio, Bernardino Berti has begun a local campaign for the Agrarian Party, stressing desired solutions to the unpleasant smog now common around the region's factories. The pall of smoke that obscured the sky seemed to be reflected in the eyes of the villagers as he rode by. Rather than the bright sunny day that he had anticipated, the speech would be accompanied by the ever-present gloom. It was no matter. As Bernardino Berti looked up at the sky and envisioned the cloud obscuring the hearts of men, a vision for a new sort of rhetoric crossed his mind. Whilst the workmen began to raise the stage, he picked up a pen and started to write. The Agrarian Party will bring back the sun. Extra peasant and reactionary movement attraction, 20% momentum to the agrarians. 2% of industrialists pops become more radical. Or they stand for nothing but opposition to progress. Reduced momentum. 2% of rural folk pops become more radical. I'm going to do the second one, actually. I'm going to risk the radicals, and we're going to see how many radicals that actually is. Okay, it doesn't seem like that many. So. Russia. If I said I wanted to nationalize all the Russian industry in Italy, how about that? 3.8 infamy, they will not accept. 5% of all building levels. It's useful. I probably should have done this sooner. Do they still have investment rights in me? They don't. They're currently involved in this war in Finland. Over regime change in Lanfang and stuff. Let's take another look at Austria. I think I can completely take the Austrians. I think they're not even close to being able to challenge me in a fight. Yeah, I don't think the Austrians are... Well, they've got trench infantry now. They've got trench infantry, but I've got siege artillery. And I'm close to having NCO training. Just having Dreadnought, too. Would love to nationalize some of these freaking building levels. It's a lot of building levels. It's like 5%. If I did this, I'd likely have to go all the way across Austria. It would cost me a huge pile of money. But I think it might be worth it. I'll think about it. It's definitely something I've got in the works. So, for now, got my election in play. It's going to be close. And I think if the Agrarian Party loses any more momentum or the right gains any, it might be taken by the right, and that might change the politics in the country, and we'll see how that goes. Definitely some interesting options at play here. Automotive industry is close to being finished. A land of plenty. The country's high standard of living has resulted in a widespread sense of contentment with the status quo, favoring Nepomuk Domlan and the sitting Agrarian Party in the ongoing elections. Change? Why would I want change? I've got a full belly, a happy wife, and a good job. Why would I squander that, chasing what might be? If it's not broken, why fix it? Extra momentum to the agrarians. Laud his achievements, he becomes more popular, and the rural folk get stronger. I'm actually going to do the second one. It's going to give me a little bit more authority to play with. And that'll be nice. On the other hand, now's a good time to fight Russia, because they're in the middle of a war somewhere else. Does Russia have war support protection? They do, because Britain's going for a humiliate CB. Wild as it sounds, I think I'm going to try and take on the Russians. So let's do this thing. This is only a forced nationalization war. Let's get everyone together. Alright, so... let's put our first corps close to Russia, and our third corps close to Russia. We'll leave the fourth corps in reserve to lock down Austria. And let's actually bring second corps back from Siam, because I think they're going to be more needed in the in Europe. Potentially against the Austrians, we'll see. Let's hike taxes. In fact, let's hike taxes a lot. I do need to continue building. Alright, Austria sides with Russia. That's really okay. Let's grab the fourth corps. We'll put them on the Austrian front. Oh, there's a second front with Austria over here. Between Austria and Wallachia. Well, that's unfortunate. We're gonna need to bring second corps there then. So unfortunately, we've got a lot of fronts, but I might be able to sneak in their capital if things get silly. I am gonna keep building. That's good for the country overall. Let's go ahead and add another leader to this army so that they don't get silly. There's the Siamese Radical Revolt. Hopefully they'll be able to sort themselves out without too much of a problem. I actually think I might need my largest army over here on the front with Austria. And my smaller army over here on the front with Russia. Yeah, force comparisons are still looking pretty good over like that. And I might actually need fourth corps over here on the Wallachia front. And just have first corps defending Italy over here. We'll get back to blockading Russia. So let's lock down the, let's see here. We'll blockade here. And we'll blockade here. And that'll be nice. It won't be perfect, but it'll be pretty good. This is a good time to fight the Russians because, they're trying to fight the British at the same time. Alright, let's put those other round of auto industries at the top of the queue. Get them going as fast as I can. Election is still taken by the Agrarian Party, but it's a much less legitimate government than it's been in the past. Beautiful. To return Oulu in Finland. You know what? Sweden I accept. And there's the Dreadnought unlocked. Perfect. Wow, force comparison here is incredible. Well, let's assign the capital as the strategic objective. I think I can win this. I think I can for sure win this. And I'm cruising on towards NCO training, and if I can grab NCO training, I'll be able to really, really win. I'm going to put First Corps on defense. That's going to reduce the demand for Italian automobiles to a certain degree. I'm going to put big old protections on automobiles, though, because I need to keep them in my market. So, how are things going over here? Winning a large battle over here. Actually losing a battle over here. Swiss troops. But I'm winning a battle here. As far as this front is concerned, I'm just shooting forward with no opposition whatsoever here in Bessarabia. Cool. All right. Nice. All right. Now there's enemy units here. All right. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. With that having been said, they've diluted this front some, so we'll go over to advance over here. Alright, I've sorted out my market some by putting protections on automobiles. I'm also continuing to increase the size of the automotive industry. I'm continuing to build up all these power plants, which are actually nearly finished. And I think once those are done, it'll be just basically one more round of automotive, and then I'll stop building more stuff. Rural folk petition the government. What do you want? Closed borders? Golly. Representing his constituents in the rural folk, Nepomuk Dolman has issued a formal petition to the Italian government to pass closed borders. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you would meet with them about new legislation. Well, is that it? Goodness, it seems you've seen a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last hours of the light for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They weren't taking no for an answer. We'll see what we can do. Add this petition, or they must understand the present situation doesn't allow for this. Reduce legitimacy and rural folk salty. I'm going to do the second one. I do not want to try to do closed borders right now. Unregulated automobiles. Due to a spate of accidents, there have been calls to regulate automobiles. It's being reported that an automobile struck a man who was crossing the street, killing him. Faster than a horse and twice as heavy. If people don't see why that's dangerous, I don't know what to tell you. Stricter laws make safer streets, reduce motor industry's throughput. But only motor industries, not automobiles. People merely need to adjust, happier industrialists, or automobiles should have the right of way. 5% of lower starting pops become radical. I'm just going to say people just need to adjust. It's going to make the industrialists happy. It's going to make the Fiat company happy. That's what we need. Alright. Winning battles, winning battles, winning battles. Moving forward quite effectively on all fronts, I feel confident in my ability to get to their capital. With that having been said, I think maybe I let one front go a little bit and see if I can sneak into the capital without problems. Actually, Sweden's getting pretty close. That's actually a little bit of a shock. You get him, Sweden. How are things going with Austria? Austria is losing war support at a decent clip. They are partially occupied, but we are slowly gaining an occupation as these two fronts have now merged. That's a little bit curious. But I guess I'll set the Russian capital to the as the strategic objective for this army as well. Over here, we are still doing well. I apologize if the sound of the lightning is disturbing. I've got to stop building stuff. Okay, media player, let's get going here. Woo! That's a heck of a thunderbolt. Golly. Winning a naval battle here. Seemingly no difficulty whatsoever. Got a good buffer, but I'm continuing to move forward. Now, does Russia have war support protection? They do, because Finland is not holding all of Oulu, but they're getting pretty close. The happy part is that I'm holding all my industry, so that shouldn't be a a problem. Do I want to finish out the construction queue? I think I maybe actually do. Let's build the mines first, because the mines are to support my my power plants, which I've just built a million of. And I should be slowly increasing the price of coal. And, you know, we don't need coal to be expensive right now. We don't need coal to be expensive right now. I am really costing myself a lot. Does Russia have war support protection? They no longer do. Alright, so, at this point, continuing to move forward would be delightful. With that having been said, they're bringing a lot more troops in now that it seems their war with Britain is finished. They're winning naval battles over here. Maybe I need to set this fleet to interception. Hey, there's film unlocked. Wonderful. I'll keep an eye on this. Oh, maybe this is our allies are losing, but we're winning. I guess I don't really have full blockade coverage on Russia, just on account of Russia can trade through the Far East without too much of a problem. But that's okay. Anyway, this is going to be good for the country, because we'll be able to nationalize all that industry that Russia built for a long time, and that's 5% of our economy back in our hands. And that will lead to continued economic growth. Second Italian Fleet was defeated, so that's them. Alright, that's okay. Can this fleet upgrade to dreadnoughts? They can. Beautiful. So we'll get that done while they're away. Interest is piling up. I sure am paying a lot for... And they're repaired. We upgrading? We're upgrading. I sure am paying a lot for lobbying right now. Doesn't seem... Orania, Transvaal, Siam, and Serbia. I still think that's useful. I still think that's pretty useful. Yeah, look at this. Look at how much we are shoving. We're doing a big shove. Alright, now Austria's really starting to bail out of the war. Russia still wants to hold, but they'll start losing more support sooner when as things go on here. In fact, I think we're going to be able to get Oahu for Sweden. Lapland, I think, is what this territory is called when Sweden holds it. So I'm feeling pretty good and strong. We're also slowly taking more occupation in Austria as our enemies continue to attempt to defend. I've got quite high taxation right now. I could halt construction, transport, and power shortages, but I don't think I can really feasibly stop that. I'm going to finish out the construction. Alright, Austria bailed out of the war, but North Germany, what do you desire? You're doing unification war goals, and you're going for South Tyrol and Alsace-Lorraine. Well, that's extremely silly. I guess I'm going to just go ahead and put my largest army on the problem. Cut North German Federation down to size. Now, that's interesting. I can definitely sway in countries, so I will be swaying in countries. Greece, what do you want? You want to hold one of my traditional subjects? Absolutely the heck not. Australia can potentially get in there. That's pretty chill. Potentially get United States. I'll definitely be able to get Spain, India, Sweden. Maybe I won't pull Sweden in just on account of I've got Sweden already helping out in my other war. Although this other war might be finished before too long. So let's let it be for the moment. I certainly hope the British don't try to get in on this, because if the British try to get in on this, I'm going to be furious. So, Spain, come on in. Brazil sides with Germany. That's interesting. United States, why don't you join me? Great Britain sides with the North German Federation, along with a bunch of other folks. Right, we're already calling them in. Beautiful. Oh, interesting. So we'll need to wait until that finishes out. Australia, sway with war goals, sway with independence. You know what? Let's do it. Still got 90 maneuvers. Austria sides with me. Now, Russia. Would you accept this? You certainly would. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we got a little bit of territory for Sweden, and we got a whole mess of other stuff for other people. Now, I would be delighted to call Sweden into the war. Again, India is the main one. India, what are you about with this USA situation? Oh my goodness, they're supporting Mexico against the USA and Occitania over a return Nevada war goal and a bunch of war goals in Mexico. Gosh darn it, we're not going to be able to get India into this thing. That's a crying shame. Can I add a liberate? I can. Ho, 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 ho. Can I add a transfer war goal? It would be 35 infamy if I stole Portugal. It's a lot of infamy. Might also give Britain war support protection, which I don't want them to have. Britain's target is Al Rif, which is here. So I really do actually need to defend this front. Which is a crying shame. Just a crying shame. Here's what we'll do. Well, I can't maneuver my armies yet because they're currently exiled. Which means I'm definitely going to finish out my construction queue and then stop building. Let me... Oh my gosh, we're actually over our time for this episode. So, tell you what, I'm going to finish out this diplomatic play in the next episode. For now, I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun. And I will see you on the other side.